Uh, in 1990, I started a limousine service while I was in college, and I owned that limousine company for 20 years. And I've always had the philosophy that that customer service, world-class customer service, is really important in any product you sell, whether it's a 25-cent cookie or a $50,000 car or a $2 million house. And in my business experience, I've grown my businesses really believing that world-class customer service is incredibly important with any product at all times. So I emailed a number of local dealerships, hoping to find out as much about the Cross Cabriolet as I could. And unfortunately, at the time, the vehicle wasn't in dealerships yet. So I guess it was unfortunate because I'm a pretty spontaneous buyer and I was ready to drive and buy the car right away, but it required me to build a little bit of a relationship with some dealerships while I was waiting for the car to come in. And after dealing with 2 or 3 other local dealerships and being left unsatisfied, I contacted Anchor and had a great initial conversation with Anchor Nissan, and then that continued through the entire process of purchasing the Cross Cabriolet. When the car came in, I was notified that it was in and available, and the guys at the dealership, everyone I dealt with from my initial conversation up to when I took delivery of the car, really did everything they said they would do and in the fashion that they said they would do, and the customer service was really impeccable. I don't really consider myself a typical car buyer. I'm not someone that needs to spend a lot of time with a dealership or spend a lot of time even with a car. I mean, I really was in a position where I knew what I wanted, and I knew what it should cost me, and I knew the terms of how I wanted to get the deal done. And I found with the other dealerships I had talked to before I went to Anchor, they were really trying to pigeonhole me into their system, into the way they wanted to sell the car, whether it was they wanted me to finance it a certain way, or they wanted me to pay a premium for the car because it was going to be a very few available, or they wanted me to come down and test drive it and then sit for a long time. What I really enjoyed about my experience at Anchor is that when I told them, you know, what I was looking for and the way I wanted to do it, they listened to me and they let me buy the car the way I wanted. And to me, that's a big deal. One of the unique things about this purchase is that, you know, I bought a car that I knew was completely new, not only to, you know, the market and to the region, but to the dealership as well. And one of the things that I felt good about at Anchor, as opposed to some of the other experiences I had at other dealerships, where they were really honest with me. They said, look, this is the first car we've seen it. We've only had it on the lot for an hour more than since you've been here. It came in an hour ago off the truck, and you know, we're going to be honest with you, it's a brand new vehicle. We haven't really had time to learn everything about it, and you know, you might have a couple questions that we need to go to other places for the answer, and I respected that. I respected that they were honest with me about the car, and you know, and the truth of the matter is, you know, 24 hours after I picked it up, it's such a robust car with so much technology. There were a couple things that I wasn't sure about, and I called the dealership and I said, hey, I've got a couple questions about this, and they said, you know what, why don't you just bring it back up here and let's look at it together. You know, I did not feel as if I had picked up the car and then the sale was done and they were just waiting for me to come back and service the car. You know, I called them the next morning and said, you know, there are so many features in this car. I left the dealership and I've forgotten already a couple of the features, and I'm having trouble figuring them out on my own. And they said, come back up, and a service manager came out and sat with me, and one of the salesmen actually wanted to take a look at the car for himself and get more familiar with it. It's an exciting product, and it was nice to feel like that I wasn't the only person excited in the car, that the dealership and the people involved, it felt like they weren't just selling me a car, they were selling me the experience, and they were part of the experience.